everyone, and welcome back. It is that time of year again. We are starting school, and that means lots of new dresses for Chloe to get her ready for another school season. So I'm going to take you along today. We are going to be doing some sewing, we're going to be getting some school things ready, and everything that goes with that. So I hope you enjoy coming along with me doing some sewing. So we're going to start by cutting out all of our dresses, and the fabric that I'm using is a stretchy or a knit fabric, and the pattern that I'm using is also for this type of stretchy material, so it works out well. And I will be sure and link the pattern for you down below so that you can find it as well. But along with sewing and being a mom comes lots of interruptions, so we're going to kind of put the sewing on hold for just a little bit and get our dinner made. Just keeping it super simple tonight. We are going to have some chicken tacos, and we're going to get these fixed up, get everyone nice and full. And when I fry chicken up like this, I like to fry a lot at a time and then keep the leftovers in the fridge for another meal later on. And the children wanted to eat outside in their tent. I know it's really warm outside. It was super hot inside the tent, but this looked like fun to them, so have at it. They didn't last long in there, but it was fun to eat outside anyways. So back to cutting out all of our dresses. We got those all cut out. Now we can start sewing. And the first thing that we're going to do is sew together the shoulder seams, right sides facing each other. And then I just like to pin the shoulders to make sure that I have everything lined up, and then go ahead and sew those together. Now you can use a needle that is made for stretch fabric if you would like to, but if I don't have one on hand, then I just use a regular needle. And then now that the shoulders are sewn together, make sure and give that a good iron. Get that pressed down really nice on the back side and then on the front side. And then we're going to move on to the neck piece here, just sewing that in the back. Once we have that ironed out really well, we are going to fold it in half and then pin it at each of the little marks that you should have made when you were cutting out this piece, this band piece. And then of course getting the center of the front and the back neck on your bodice. That way you can just line up your pins and pin this into place. This makes it easy to know what you're doing and where the band goes. And then you'll just stretch this into the neck part on the dress. Make sure that everything fits in really nicely, pin it really well, and then you can go ahead and sew this in. And then using a fairly small seam allowance around the neck, that way you can get this to lay nicely. So here is the band sewn in, and then we're going to go ahead and get this ironed down really well. Make sure that it stands nice on the dress. So for the sleeves, I am just kind of doing this on the fly here. So I wanted to do kind of a bow look here on the sleeve, so I'm just cutting out a piece of fabric here, making sure I have it plenty long. I can always cut off a little bit. And then I'm doing a little bit of a seam on the one end just to finish it off. And down the center, I sewed a gathering stitch and then gathered that nice and tight, and then go over it with just a regular stitch to keep those gathers in place. Next, we are just using a couple more pieces of fabric just to make kind of that center bow part, sewing those together. and then turning them right side out, and then you have your little center piece there. And basically this is just to cover that gathering stitch there in the center. So once you have that all pinned onto your sleeve, you can go ahead and sew that on the sleeve. So now you're going to iron it on the inside, and then you can flip it over. This just helps it to stand really nicely then in the end. So we have our little, kind of a little bow piece here on the sleeve. And then next we will sew this onto our bodice. So you find the shoulder and then make sure that that little notch that you cut in the sleeve goes toward the front of the dress. So you'll want to find the center of the sleeve and the center of the shoulder, just line those up, pin that on, and then I'm also pinning down this top piece just to hold it in place while we get it sewn in. Next, you will just take that sleeve piece and kind of fit it into the bodice, the armhole, to stretch it out and make it fit in there nicely. And if you have a good stretchy fabric or like a knit fabric, it should stretch in there nicely. And then you can just sew it in and do the exact same on the opposite sleeve. So here is how the sleeves are looking so far. Super cute. And then we're going to go ahead and sew on the skirt onto our bodice piece. And this is super easy, just pinning it into place, getting it sewn onto the top part. So here our dress is starting to look like a finished dress. All we need to do is sew down the sides here, and I like to pin where all of the seams meet first of all, that way those are lined up nicely, and then you can go ahead and pin the rest all the way down each side. This dress is a super easy dress to make, and you can keep it as simple as you like. If you are just starting out with sewing and want to learn how, this is a good dress to start with. So now you can go ahead and just get all of those side seams and the waist seam ironed down really well and get this ironed into place so that it stands nicely in the end. So here I'm going to show you a couple of the other sleeves that I did. I'm not going to sew the whole dress on here because that would be kind of boring, but I'll show you a couple of the sleeves. So here I have just a piece of fabric that is about twice as long as the length of my sleeve, and it is about 3 inches wide. I sewed in a small hem on both sides, sewing it in a bigger gathering stitch because we will be gathering this a little bit later. Make sure you leave a little bit of thread there so that you can gather it. Find the center of your sleeve on the top and the bottom, and then just go to town gathering this up on both sides. This will just add a nice little ruffle design going down the center of your sleeve. Once you have the one side all gathered in, then you just kind of want to match up the other side and make it fit onto your sleeve however you like how it looks. Pin it into place. Don't be shy with the pins. You want this pinned in very well so that it stays straight and stays in place while you go to sew it up. Now we are moving on to packing our school things. This is always so exciting, all the fun new things to take to school, to get ready. We're going to pack up our backpacks, getting all of the stuff packed in. So now that the backpacks, the lunch boxes, everything is good to go, we're going to work on the teachers' boxes. So this year, instead of a basket, I went with more of like an organization bin. That way they can use it in their classrooms if they want to. So we're going to just stuff this thing with lots of snacks, some drinks, just like some afternoon, after school snacks for the teacher. We're also going to be adding in a nice water bottle from my website. Just some fun things that hopefully will keep the teachers munching after school as they finish up their work for the day or whenever they need a little pick-me-up. So we're going to do Jameson's teachers box, and then this is Chloe's teachers. So here are the boxes finished, and now we are on to the first day of school. You might recognize Chloe's new dress. This is the gray one that we were just working on. Weston was content with blowing his bubbles as we were waiting for all of the kids to show up. It was a very exciting day. So now I'm going to show you a couple more sleeves of some of the other dresses that I did. So this sleeve was just begging to be cut in a wave pattern here on the end, and then I added a piece on the bottom just to kind of do the opposite wave effect on the bottom. So there's how that one looks, and this is Chloe wearing the dress completed. I think this color is so pretty and the fabric is very comfortable. So the last sleeve idea is this one. So basically just use 2 different size lids to cut out a circle, and I did give the bottom, or like the larger circle, a nice zigzag stitch just to finish it off, and then pinned the smaller side onto the bottom of the sleeve to make this nice little ruffle effect. And I like how this one turned out as well, very cute. And then just finishing it off with a good iron. So I'm not done with her dresses yet, but this is a good start, and I hope you enjoyed coming along with us today and the last couple days to get some of this stuff done, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.